Today is haul out day. We're heading to the yard and we got a bottom job to do. We have repairs or inspections to make from that hard grounding.
I'm not actually recording you.
In this haul out, we need to tackle a few projects. Number one is to find out the results of our recent hard grounding. Is there damage on the keel? Is the rudder cracked or damaged? Then we have routine maintenance. That is, bottom paint, clean the scum off the waterline, restore the bronze propeller, cold galvanize the anchor, and paint the chain. Deltaville's the perfect place to do the job. There's beautiful trees, a great hardware store, and the weather this spring is no longer cold, but we're far from the heat of summer. Let's get to it.
Whew. We had a full oyster bed growing on the bottom there. I'm talking thick of oysters. Oh, I'm out of breath. Scraped them all off and so just power washing it. And that's got to be worth at least a half, maybe a full knot of speed. That explains a lot. I don't see any major damage from our hard grounding. Solid ass boat right there. Once we get it clean, we'll scuff it down, give it a closer inspection, make sure there's no damages, but positive so far. First step is to, I'm going to scrape off there's a few barnacles, not a whole lot. We're going to scrape those off and then we're going to scotch pad it. First step. So we've knocked off all the barnacles. And the paint is overall in good condition as far as coverage. A few spots we have to really sand down and clean up. But you can see for the most part, it's just black paint. So we're scuffing it up, getting it ready to take its next coat.
Something deeply satisfying about working with your hands and putting a hard day of work in. Day one is in the books with the hardest part done. Day two is going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, good morning and welcome back to Life on the Hard. We've got a good day planned. We're going to be focusing on finishing up prepping the bottom and the propeller. We're going to do some work on the propeller, but first I was about to go down and make some coffee at the captain's lounge. You're going to get a kick out of this. Here's a lesson learned the hard way. Check this out. So I don't know what that looks like on the camera, but to me, it looks like a long fall with no ladder. I guess through the night we had some wind or something. Our ladder fell over, so we can't get down off the boat. So just put the swim ladder on, and that'll get me halfway down, then I'll jump from there. But yeah, tie the ladder on. Lesson learned the hard way.
Today we have to work on getting this dirty line off. Matt's gonna scrape or take Barnacle Buster on the prop. We have to get some growth off of the keel. Anyway, I'm using some Tilex since we're on the hard, and I'm gonna work to try to see if I can get that off. Worked last time.
Cool. Let's see it. Let me get out of the wind.
Looking better.
All right, so we are scuffing up the water line with 80 grit. So we're not sanding the bottom. Just yesterday we used that aggressive Scotch pad to scuff it up. But right now we're gonna get a little more aggressive on the water line where that paint has been dried for a while. And there's a few spots where it's chipping. We're gonna really dig down, sand it good, so that we can get a good adhesion on the next coat. We'll paint tomorrow. We still have more work to do today though. So we're taking the propeller off, and we're gonna get the rest of these barnacles off. Kind of the scales, all that deposit, that lime and whatnot, calcification. And the girls are finishing up getting rid of all the slime on the boat. We're moving right along here. Next step will be to clean the prop, finish cleaning the keel, and then we're going to rinse off all the Tilex from the boat and do the white stripe that has all the brown rust stains on it. All right, so we've read before that you can use vinegar to get barnacles off, because you know it's a acid and base type of combo there, but vinegar just doesn't work. We've tried that in Titusville, it didn't work. So today we're using Barnacle Buster. This is an acid, not the strongest acid, but it's pretty strong. It is biosafe, so that's a benefit, but it's designed specifically for barnacles, heat exchangers and whatnot. We're doing it here on the prop. We're going to scrub it, rinse it off, so it's not left on the metal very long, but just long enough to get this this growth. You can't even scrape it off. It's so intense. We started getting this growth back in the Bahamas, even with the paint we put on the prop, and that was the Petit Trinidad we used on the prop last time. Just doesn't work, so we'll get this off polished up, get it ready to paint tomorrow. All right, so we've gone down to, we're at the base of those scales now, and actually the old bottom paint is on there still. So we got a steel wool and we're just scrubbing at it. I opted not to get like a brass brush for the Dremel or for my drill. I figured that'd be a little too aggressive. And this is working well between a diluted Barnacle Buster mixture, about half and half Barnacle Buster and water, and the steel wool. I'm able to get the Trinidad. The paint is coming off, the old paint. as well as most of the barnacles. I think the next step will be final scraper on some of those big barnacles, and then some 80 grit sandpaper just to get it nice and scuffed up to take the new paint. I'm actually surprised that the darkness that you see here, I'm actually surprised that that bottom paint is still on there. It's just not effective anymore. Been scraped too much. When I dive the boat, you know, in the Bahamas, this is the only place on the boat that usually has barnacles, and to get them off I have to use a scraper, and then I think that damages the paint. Either way, we're making progress. Here's the clean side, here's the not clean side. You can see a difference, right? So we're on, this is about phase 4 of the clean of the prop. We've gotten most of the barnacles, I'd say 90 to 95% of the barnacles off. And now we're letting the barnacle buster sit on this paint. And we're giving it the scrape with the stainless steel. And most of it's, I'd say we're about 30% clear. Got some pretty good thick paint on here. So that's the Trinidad. That was 2 years ago. It lasted on the prop. That's good, but it didn't, you know, keep its anti-fouling properties that entire time. After we use the stainless, we'll use an 80 grit to, you know, roughen up the brass, the bronze, and then we're going to paint it. We're going to paint it with the cold galvanizing Rust-Oleum paint. And Olivia finished up the keel, right, kiddo?
Mm-hmm. I sanded it and did the scraping and then sanded it and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, looks like it's ready for paint too. We're almost ready. We have one more step today, and that's, let me show you this. That's using on and off. It's a very strong acid, and that's right here. This brown stain, this is from the Chesapeake water, North Carolina water. It just stains it brown. And Tilex, other products won't get it off. It has to be that acid. A quick wipe, 30 seconds later it just kind of disappears. It turns white. And after we do that, we'll give the whole boat a nice fresh water rinse down. It'll be ready to paint. And we're gonna use a cleaning wax for actually the top sides. And we're gonna be ready to roll. Get the prop on, and next couple days we'll be putting it back in the water. Alright, so yeah, we're making great progress, finishing touches here on the propeller, using an 80 grit sandpaper to get it ready for the paint. But not just getting it ready for the paint, I'm actually taking off. This old paint is really, it's grabbed hold, and you know what? Almost where this paint is being stubborn, when I remove it with the sandpaper, it's almost leaving behind little pink splotches. And not leaving behind, but leaving behind that color. The metal is that color now, which a quick search on Google will let you know could be dezincification. It could be the loss of zinc from the bronze prop, and leaving the copper behind, which is a pink color, right? So I don't know. Was that going to happen without using the Trinidad copper-based paint, or is it happening because of that? So we've caught it. There's no damage to the prop necessarily. It's smooth. It feels good. Still feels like fresh bronze. But I'm glad we're going to switch over to the zinc, and we'll see how that does. But that's going to be a 2-year process. We're not going to look at it again 2 years from now. So anyway, there we go. I got another hour of work to do on the backside. Alright, so we're moving
moving to the on and off. This is where we get this stained gel coat and turn it white again. It's a phosphoric acid. There's some other hydrochloric acid. It's a pretty strong product, but it works really well. Watch this. Just wipe it on. There's no rubbing required. It just takes a moment and changes white. Yeah, and just grab some more. Oh, look at it right there on the towel. Look at that. Yeah, and it just starts turning white. And then it just needs a second coat. Ooh, look at that.
That's the paint.
Ripped off some paint. Okay, that's fine. It's dusty because we just scuffed it up. Nice. And I got to put the camera down because my job is going to be with a wet rag coming behind and wiping it off. So that's pretty much it. We'll see you after it's done. And that, my friends, wraps up the end of day 2. Day 3, we get to paint and finalize the chain, the prop, and wax the boat. And welcome to day 3 of our boat projects in the boatyard here in Deltaville. We were finishing up the paint prep yesterday. We finished up getting this this brown, you know, it's close to the waterline, this brown stripe, getting it back white again. Did some cleaning on the prop, that's still ongoing. But you know, just like painting a house, the finished product is all in the preparation. So we're doing some final scourings with the Scotch pads. Made a few sandings on little spots like this. And I'm about to work on, from our original paint job, some of the spots just above the waterline have flaked off. So I've sanded that down. And you can see where the boat sits right here. This is where the water sits. But it splashes up. So we bring the bottom paint higher. It's flaked off though. So we gotta layer that up. I'm gonna work on layering that up, sanding, layering, before we actually roll the whole thing. I even was able to chip this back. It just was flaking off. So I went ahead and chipped it back as far as the flaking would go. Anyway, preparations, that's what it's about. That's in today's agenda. We're gonna get this paint on. We're gonna do layer 1 and layer 2. I'll show you those paints later. And then tomorrow, we're gonna get the rest of this stain off. You can see these brown stains. That's really from North Carolina and Chesapeake Bay. And then from, you know, drippings and things like that. We can't do that until the paint dries, so I'm gonna put the camera down. We're gonna get this paint job done. So we've thoroughly sanded this. It's got a really smooth edge from it's about a half a millimeter of paint. And it goes down to this, it's a barrier coat. And so we got a real smooth edge on it, sanded it, and acetoned a couple times, got it nice and clean. Now we're adding this Petit Trinidad. So we're gonna layer it up. Probably do 2 to 4 coats. With a little light sanding in between. This is really easy and pleasant work, particularly this time of year.
what is it, April, so it's just 50 degrees out here, just perfect actually. Just shed my coat, starting to get warm. After we patch these and put a couple layers up, then we'll be ready to roll the whole thing. That's gonna be fun.
That is.
They only had like mediums at the store, so.
Like loosen your hands.
Oh my God, look how stretched my skin is from that. Oh, almost looks swollen actually, my hand looks swollen. Time to paint, so we're gonna put our first coat of the paint on. I'll show you what paint we have over here. This is the paint we've been using for the last 4 years. The Petit Trinidad. It's a hard paint, and it lasts a solid 2 years. Like this is 2-year-old paint right now, and it's still doing pretty good. We just thought it'd be a good time to, since we're hauled out, go ahead and put another coat on. It's a little worn around the waterline, so we're paying extra attention there. We'll put a second layer on, but it won't be of this. It's going to be of another paint over here. Well, and after that first layer dries, we're going to use this for our second layer. It's a lower cost paint, so it's not designed to last as long as the Trinidad, but it's going to be a second layer. So if it wears off, we still have the bottom layer. But we're going to put this, we're going to focus this on the keel, rudder, and the waterline. It's a hybrid paint, so it has the kind of the characteristics of a hard paint, but it is meant to ablate, but not quite as fast. Now I guess a lot of the guy at the hardware store said a lot of the paints these days are going to that hybrid style because, you know, benefits of both. It's got a good copper content, 23%, whereas the Trinidad is like 50% copper. All right, well, I may or may not have completely wiped out in the muddy ditch. Well, that's not the full story, actually. I was on the bike, and I did wipe out completely in the mud. I had to cross the ramp across the ditch. It's about a 3-foot ditch. The ramp at the skinniest point is only about 8 inches, so it was pretty stupid of me to try. And the front of the ramp is about 6 inches up, so you got to kind of pop a small wheelie and then make a turn onto the ramp. Oh, it was a total disaster. I flew off the side of the ramp, the bridge. The bike went straight into the ditch. I had no way to save myself. I also went left foot straight into the ditch. It was deeper than I thought, so my body fell over completely in the mud. Oh, just, you know, things sometimes don't go as planned. Oh, but what makes it worse is there were 2 cars coming down the road at that time and saw the whole thing. So I gave them a thumbs up, and what's worse is I saw them at the marina when they parked their cars, and we had to laugh about it. So anyway, there's your lesson for life: is don't be stupid. It's all good.
That 40 at that marker, right?
40, that's 40, yeah, you're right. 20 each.
Right.
What is this, day 4 on the hard? We are putting our final coat of paint on. This is the Cadence HRT unepoxy. Kind of makes a third coat around the waterline, second coat on the keel and rudder, second coat on the bow. We're painting our chain. You want to come see this? Alright, so we have 80 feet and 120 mark, and then I'm going to mark the 100-foot line with yellow right over there. Alright, so that's it. Did another second coat of the zinc on the anchor. Let's check out that beauty. It looks good. Anyway, life on the hard has not been hard. It's been enjoyable. I think we're going to wrap up the video with our next step, and that'll be buffing the boat using our cleaner wax process. And we'll talk to you about what we think about life on the hard, and maybe share a few tips of things we've learned. This time I'm going to use the cold galvanizing. It's 93% pure zinc. If anything, it should be the less noble metal and prevent corrosion. I've read mixed reviews on that theory. So we're really at the final steps of the boat. Prop chain is finished, we just got to put it back on. But now we're talking about the aesthetics. Also protecting the gel coat. First, we have these stains. Look, I missed a spot here. These really dark brown stains here from this, I guess it's high tannin water, I don't know. But definitely when you get to North Carolina, Chesapeake Bay, you get these on your boat. So we're doing an acid treatment. This is hydrochloric acid, phosphoric acid, ethoxylated alcohols, and oxalic acid all in one. And so I don't know if you've ever watched any of those gangster movies. They gotta destroy the body. Like they use the hydrochloric acid, I think is what it is, right? So we definitely keep this on the boat. But it does good for the brown stains too. So let me show you while I chat a little. Let me go a little on this spot here. And I don't know how dark it is behind me, whether you can see it or not. There's a brown stain here too. I'm going to do one little circle, and in about 30 seconds you'll see no elbow grease needed. This stain behind me has now disappeared. Can you see that? It's really good stuff. And you can see the circle that I made. That's starting to disappear too, you see it? You got clean, brown stain, the circle I have. Super easy to do. And then all we do is
wet rag just to wipe it off. And that is the acid treatment. Now it's going to be ready to wax. All right, today is launch day. We've done all the final projects. Yesterday was a long day on the hard, 12 hours. We waxed, finished the final coat, got the dinghy bottom painted. Oh yeah, that's nice. Boat's nice and waxed. It's all brightened up. I wouldn't say it's detailed or anything, but it's ready for another season of cruising. Now it's time to get the anchor back in the locker. I don't know. I've cleaned the sensors out under the bottom of the boat, getting all the barnacles off of them. I think we're ready. Let's do it. And that pretty much wraps up our time in the boatyard. We are ready to cruise and to begin a new chapter of our journey. Thanks for watching this episode. If you liked it, leave us a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.